Hello. What do you believe to be the most important aspect of communication? For me, it would have to be effective listening. Because, as Dr. Rachel Naomi Raymond once said, perhaps the most basic and powerful way we can connect with one another is by listening. Just listening. And the most important thing we could give to each other is our attention. And to demonstrate this idea, I'd like to take you back to my brother's weightlifting match last year, where he came home with these, busted through the door excitedly, and said, "Dad, you won't believe it. We had this kid there from Waldron, and he was killing us during the practice rounds. But during the actual weightlifting meet, he scratched it out all 3 times, and I won both events, and now they're even giving me a t-shirt." And my father's response was, "Cool." And so my father wasn't practicing very effective listening in that moment, and he missed out on a powerful bond moment he could have shared with my brother because of that. And that leads me to why effective listening is so important. It helps us build and strengthen relationships with those around us. If you're listening well, you're going to continue they're going to want to continue communicating with you because you're listening well, and you're going to continue sharing ideas with each other and strengthening that bond. And so you might be wondering, if that's so important, how do I go about doing it more efficiently in my daily life? And I would advise you first to use your body language more properly. Be more attentive to the person. Make sure they're your center of attention. Also, eliminating distractions like mobile devices and laptops. That will also help. And then practice elaborative responses, trying to show them that you're comprehending what they're saying through those elaborative responses, and also adding constructive questions, especially in a discussion or a debate. Make sure you're trying to get them to elaborate on what their main ideas are and why they're believing what they're believing. They'll help them know that you're listening well. Also, make them feel safe, comfortable, and be supportive. If they feel comfortable, they're more likely to continue talking to you, and because you're giving them that support. And after you've given them those supportive thoughts, start to give them some advice. Start to give them, recommendations for how to solve their problem. That'll also help them a lot. And make sure that you're not competing in your discussion. You don't want to go in it with the goal of winning the debate. You want to go in there with the goal of communicating by listening and not trying to win. And so once you apply those strategies, the person's going to start feeling more energized in that conversation. They're going to feel like you two are kind of like bouncing off of each other, just having a good time. And although we'd love to have this, many of us are subpar in this listening, in these listening strategies, and it has a lot to do with the incorrect ways of listening, which mostly are not being attentive, like my father was, being on his phone. It could be narcissism, conversational narcissism, competitive listening, where you're just trying to get your point across. You're not listening to them at all. You're wanting to win the argument. It can be acting like a sponge through pseudo listening. Just going, pseudo listening, like my father was doing, doesn't help. Even though you might seem like you're being a good listener, you want to start elaborating on their ideas. That's going to help you be more efficient in that. And then another thing a lot of people will do that's a mistake is trying to give advice before making the person feel supported and comfortable. They're going to be much less likely to come back for help if you just seem so judgmental about it and you just offered them advice without ever trying to understand them. And so if you are to apply these strategies and you're to use this knowledge in your daily life, I assure you that the people around you are going to start thinking of you as a more effective listener, and they're going to be more likely to continue communicating with you, which in turn will strengthen your relationship with those people, with your colleagues at work, with your friends, and especially with your family members, like my father could have done with my brother, building that bond through that powerful, victorious moment for him. And that is because, like Dr. Raymond had said, the most important thing we can give to each other is our attention. Thank you.